Alrighty, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, welcome to Voices from the Grid, the Power Rangers fan panel. I am the Blue Ranger, Michael.
He's shouting into his microphone.
Which is actually not working.
I don't think it is because I can hear it.
Yeah, it's working.
You just can't hear it back here.
My light
projects out to them.
Gotcha.
There you go, I heard it.
Well, anyways,
He's Mike, he's the Blue Ranger.
Yes.
to my right is the Pink Ranger, Brian.
Hello. How are you?
Why is everyone laughing at being the Pink Ranger?
I've accepted it at this point because I've been Pink Ranger for 2 seasons now.
I voluntarily made myself a Pink Ranger in the
So-
first season. Nothing wrong with being pink.
Okay,
We have our Green Ranger, after the greatest Power Ranger of all time, Mr. Johnny Young Bosch, Adam Park, Mr. Ben Taylor,
Hello.
and all the way at the
Oh, sorry. I go. Hello there.
General Kenobi.
And then all the way to the far right, we have our forever Red Ranger, Sasha Kaplan.
Go on, the ever snarky.
Alright, so,
Small
Spoiler
spoiler
alert.
warnings.
Big spoilers, warnings.
We're not going to be shying away from talking about the 30th anniversary. We're not going to be shying away from talking about Dino Fury or any of the upcoming stuff that's been released about Cosmic Fury. So if that's stuff that you don't want to hear about, don't ask about it. But the way that we tend to run these panels is we kind of want to know what you want to talk about, really.
It's a pretty fun, informal Q&A.
yeah.
You ask the questions, we give you our snarky opinions, and then you kind of just deal with it.
And then everyone blames me for being wrong, even though I'm always right.
Don't push it.
Name one time I've been wrong.
I don't remember. I don't keep track of when you're right or when you're wrong. It's not my job. It's not even Amy's job.
Always wrong.
See, Amy says you're always wrong, so she's...
It's because my wife is allowed to say that, and I'm not allowed to disagree. So, is there anything specific that you guys want to talk about? Okay, we've got a quick front. Go for it.
So, kind of been presumed with the new regime coming in, but Simon Bennett, Becca Barnes, all of them confirmed that Cosmic Fury is their last rodeo. Have you what's your evaluation of Simon Bennett as a showrunner, or is that kind of not really complete until after Cosmic Fury is done?
I
I
think
should go last on this.
I think there's enough evidence there that Simon Bennett really does care about the product. I think that he's done a really good job with I think he came on from Ninja Storm.
Ninja Steel.
Ninja Steel, thank you,
Yeah.
sorry. And then he was on Beast Morphers and of course, Dino Fury, now Cosmic Fury, and I think he's really done a good job so far. And we'll see what happens with Cosmic Fury, but honestly, I think it kind of sucks that he's leaving because I thought he was probably one of the best showrunners we've had in a while. So that's my opinion.
I haven't watched any of the stuff yet. I haven't watched Ninja Steel on yet.
Why are you here?
Because I'm the retro guy.
Catch up, man. So I will say I did not like Ninja Steel. I thought all of the characters were rather two-dimensional. Beast Morphers was a lot better. And, Dino Fury was... It took me a while to really get into it, but once I did, I really enjoyed it. I would say I don't judge a showrunner by their complete run. I judge them show by show. So I'm going to judge Beast Morphers independently than I would judge Dino Fury, right?
Sure.
I do think that there are some things that maybe should have been a little bit more thought through. I'm still kind of irritated by the idea of the Cosmic Masters, because it
You mean the Morphin Master?
whatever.
Well, that's going to tie into my point, I think.
Then please take it away.
I think Simon Bennett is definitely a person that shows that he has respect for the source material, that he's done his research, but he's not half as clever as he thinks he is.
Yes.
He's very much trying to do this thing where he goes back into Power Rangers past pulls things like the Morphin Masters, which were like a throwaway line in like season 1 of Mighty Morphin, and turn them into this huge universe-altering thing that have been changing things since Ninja Steel.
Like what was it? They created the Dino Gems too, or something.
Yeah,
like
they created the Energems.
The
They
Energems.
created the Dino Gems from Dino Thunder. They created, but
Sage Kendricks, all that other stuff.
it comes for me. Simon Bennett is trying to be Stephen Moffat. What Stephen Moffat was for Doctor Who,
That is damning.
he's trying to be that for Power Rangers, and that's not what Power Rangers needs. Power Rangers needs good internal show writing within a season, and he did a very good job of that with Beast Morphers. Dino Fury has its problems. Not least of all is it carries over some of the Haim Saban stuff that it shouldn't have carried over.
J-Borg.
I'm looking at you, J-Borg.
G-Borg.
Unnecessary. Write it out.
Like Ben and Benny didn't need to be slapstick in Beast Morphers. Like it just Bennett is good at what he can do, which is pull the references from the past of Power Rangers. He should be relying a lot more on better writers to incorporate those into the show. Would it be sad to see him go? Yeah, because I think he actually cares about the property rather than the person that's just going to like control pace the next season and sort of be like, oh, what can we do to make as much money as possible?
And it's clear that he's also had now the freedom to really do that,
Yeah.
as opposed to previous seasons where the showrunners were being stifled either by Saban or by someone else, or execs who were like, oh, doesn't need to have plot, just toss in monster fights and stuff like that.
And if you need a more stark like examination of why what Simon Ben does isn't foolproof, look at Dino Fury and then look at the 30th anniversary. The 30th anniversary was incredibly poor by comparison.
Yeah.
You seem confused by this.
I mean, you're the first person I've heard who hated it.
Oh, listen to our podcast episode.
It is that it's just a poor attempt to cash in on nostalgia that doesn't have very much internal continuity, doesn't answer the questions it actually needs to answer, and just gives us it's the Zach and Billy show. It's not a celebration of Power Rangers, Mighty Morphin as a whole. The sheer fact that, and again, this is purely from like a 45-year-old man taking a kids' show way too seriously point of view. But like, they don't explain how there could be like we saw an active team of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers in Beast Morphers
With Jason.
with Jason.
Before that, in Super Megas.
We don't count that. That doesn't exist.
But the point being,
What now?
we saw an active team. There is an active team of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers. So how do Rocky, Cat, and the others get the coins? Are you implying that Billy and Zach have been Power Rangers for 30 years, but they didn't show up during Countdown to
Well, hold on. No.
Countdown to Destruction? They didn't show up during
Wait. No. I think I don't think it's implied they've been Rangers this entire time, though.
I think they're like reserved.
It's one of those things where I think the way that I understood the 30th anniversary is that like Billy came back to Earth and then kind of started doing all of the stuff. He started Cranston Tech. And all
Not a
that.
single explanation as to how he found
Right,
Earth,
but that's
by
the
way.
thing. There was a lot of sort of implied things, and this is also one of my gripes with it, is that they didn't really fill in holes in the continuity of like, okay, so Billy came back after Countdown to Destruction, I would guess.
Yeah.
Right, so while Tommy was off getting his PhD in archaeology or paleontology or whatever nonsense it was,
Which
not to say that those studies are nonsense,
which I
but-
did the math on. if he is a doctor of paleontology in Dino Thunder,
Yeah,
and
that's great.
and the common popular theory is that 1 year of Power Rangers happened the year
Right.
comes out, he would have to have started training to be a paleontologist in season 2 of Mighty Morphin.
Really?
Yep, between his paleontology, getting his doctorate, and his teaching degree.
Welcome to
Did he
Power
have a
Rangers with a
teaching
continuity.
Yes, because he becomes a teacher.
But not everybody that teaches has a teaching degree.
Wow,
I mean-
that's standing indictment on America.
No, so the way it works, it depends on public school versus private school, and it depends state by state. But you don't necessarily have to have a degree in education, you have to have a license. And taking your license is like taking an exam to prove that you understand the content material and you are capable of teaching.
The city itself is.
Yeah,
Alright,
so-
and then you would have
You sir in the back.
So, taking a break from the first opinion position about the school, as I say, school system.
Fair.
So what you said earlier about, like, how the coins could have been, created though, and like the, anniversary though. So, now, so I know for a fact that, JDF long before he had passed, he said he was taking this, like, stepping back from like Power Rangers,
Right, yeah.
So,
best thing to ever happen to the franchise.
so when he, Ninja Steel.
With the Master Morpher.
Right, when he created the Master Morpher though, but we didn't get a lot of context into how it was created, because that would be a
Yep.
contributing factor to how the coins were created.
Well, he
yeah.
had
Let
the
me
master
hop in
morpher.
real quick. Let me hop in real quick on this one.
It was
So,
just, he didn't go into detail about it, but you just like, I got one of these, and then he just started.
so there's a simple explanation, and I know Ben does not. I know
Excuse me.
gimmick infringement. I know,
Thanks, Gosei.
but
It's the only
I
good
know
thing to come out
Ben
of that
has
franchise.
openly said that he does not consider the comic books as part of the whole universe of Power Rangers, but because of Shattered Grid, it is. If you read Soul of the Dragon, it actually explains the Master Morpher.
Okay, but none of that was mentioned in
None
the
of that was
show.
mentioned.
But the
on
thing
TV.
is that like they,
But-
so like a lot of the stuff like the Morphin Masters, they explained a lot.
All right,
more
let's
than-
do a quick poll. Who in here has read the Boom Studios comics? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 people.
I've read some of them.
Out of I'd say
30.
maybe 30. The fact that only 9 people in a Power Rangers fan panel have read the comics means you cannot rely on other media to provide context for your TV show.
Real quick, how many of you have Facebook and Twitter and have Power Rangers in your Twitter feeds and stuff like that? Almost everyone should be raising your hand if you're on social media.
Why?
So you just see all the articles that explain a lot of stuff from the comic books too.
But that's
Okay,
not,
but like that
again,
requires
that's
me to
not
put an
putting it
article.
in the show.
They're not going to put it in the show because the thing is that like
Why do I
Here's the,
have,
hold on.
why do I have to do homework to enjoy my show that uses footage from Japan?
Here's the thing. The comics are their own continuity, and some of it a few things here and there have bled into the show. But to be honest, it's better that the comics don't bleed into the show because the comics have taken their own canon into a very different direction that doesn't make
And
any
yes,
sense with current continuity of the show.
the Mighty Morphin and everything else that we know may be one reality within Shattered Grid. That doesn't mean it's every reality plays out the same way.
Does anyone have an easy question?
Just to finish up the thought I was having before all of this tangent. For Simon Bennett, to sum it up, he's really good at picking out certain things like the morphing masters, right? But then you get to the 30th anniversary and he can't give us a 2-line explanation for how Billy got back to McIntyre.
Like,
Oh, why or what?
my
Or
thing,
who Trini, the father of Trini's kid was. Because that's a huge mystery.
I thought that was implied. Nobody really wanted to answer that. I was like, no, we're not going to talk about that. Okay.
I mean, my thing is like, with a lot of like film and television, obviously show don't tell is the big thing that you want to do. But man, Power Rangers could really tell a little more, please, instead of just showing us, oh, this is a thing now. I think that's the biggest thing is like, give us some explanation, give us some backstory, because like,
All right.
I would
There
have
was a human in yellow that had their hand.
Yes.
and then we'll get
Hello,
to
human in yellow.
Hi, I'm Diana, like the princess. My pronouns are she, her, hers. I'm doing a very casual Trini. What do you think?
Love it.
Thank Thank you. What do you think we see first? A full-on animated remake of MMPR Season 1 or an animation of the Boom Studio comic, particularly like Shattered Grid?
If
How
anything,
about
it would
an
probably be
original
the
concept that doesn't cash in on the nostalgia of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers because I'm so done.
Yeah, I mean, Shattered Grid's pretty nice.
I don't think you'll necessarily see a remake of season 1. You might see, as Sasha said, like an original show that calls back and shows you parts of season 1. I don't think they'll just do a shot-for-shot remake.
If they do, I think it would be the Shattered Grid.
Yeah, of those two options, you'll probably see Shattered Grid
Because
first.
not only that, but with Shattered Grid, you can literally go from Shattered Grid to Beyond the Grid to Necessary Evil to like all the storylines all the story arcs that they've been doing.
And that means that you get to have characters like Lord Draken in there, and you can do stuff that like they've been alluding
It also
to.
means they might explain some of the plot holes that might think they should have filled in the TV show.
Yeah. I do know for a fact, because like I've been reading up on the news that like, you know, because Simon Bennett's leaving, and it seems like they're going to be leaving New Zealand probably too. So like we don't know what or if there's going to be a season.
Unionize.
They unionize them.
We might not be getting a season 31 of the continuity of the show. So let's see
They've
what
already made
happens.
it known that they're going a whole totally different direction. They're not bringing any stuff from the Sentai anymore. They're going to go completely brand new.
And who's paying for that exactly?
Netflix.
Yeah. we'll see.
Oh, well, I'll believe that when I see
It's a
it.
shame because King Dojo is awesome, but whatever.
It's
Gentleman
probably
here
for
with
the best, Brian, I'm
We've
sorry.
got gentleman
So-
here with the hat.
Well, we're going to go to him first because he had to stand up first, and we'll go to the guy.
All right, I'm gonna embarrass myself being that person, but what's the best recent series to jump into? It's kind of a newbie and someone who's been really lapsed.
So this,
As like what's a series to jump into if you know nothing about Power Rangers?
Yeah, like let's just say it's been a long time. I may as well know nothing. And what would be the best of the recent series to kind of jump
When you
into?
when you say recent series,
Or just
bear in
any.
mind that a lot of it is now free on YouTube
Mhm,
on the Power Rangers official.
mhm.
Everything up through I think SPD is available for free at this point.
No, later.
Super Mega Force now.
Is it?
Bleh.
Okay.
Or let's just say anything. Yeah, like I may as well be new and just want to jump in.
Do I just say my favorite series?
Yes.
Or-
Kinda get- yeah.
Then I'll say my two favorite series are Lightspeed Rescue and Jungle Fury. Jungle Fury does not get nearly enough credit. It's so good.
And also, both of those series are relatively, especially Jungle Fury, are relatively easy to jump into for new fans. Like, my brother actually has, he has two friends who are, anime nerds, and, we don't want to watch Power Rangers. And so we sat them down to watch Jungle Fury, and they got hooked.
But be aware, once you've watched the fight scenes in Jungle Fury, every other season's gonna be like, oh, it's good. Because the whole theme of Jungle Fury is, even outside of their morph forms, the characters are martial arts masters. So there's a lot of each one has a very specific style. One is a Wing Chun master, one is a Tiger Claw master. It's very. Jungle Fury is probably just my favorite series. Jungle Fury and Lightspeed Rescue. Lightspeed Rescue would be a very good gateway series to Power Rangers overall.
Yeah.
Because it's not quite as gimmicky as
And it's
Jungle
also
Fury.
not continuity. Oh, you're talking about Lightspeed Rescue. Never mind.
Yeah, Lightspeed Rescue is the first season in any of Power Rangers where the powers are human-made. There's not some magical crystal or magical sword behind it.
Or floating dude in a tube.
Floating dude in a tube. It's the first season where the Rangers' identities are open knowledge. They morph in the middle of the street in the first episode. I would say Lightspeed Rescue is a great gateway, and I would say Jungle Fury is a good gateway. Does anyone else have any recommendations?
Yeah, go
Trini.
ahead.
Thank you. I feel like Ninja Storm is
Yeah.
probably a really good place to start because it wipes the slate clean from the Fox era show.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's a very nice palate cleanser.
because that was the start. That was
It's
the
the
start
first
of Disney
Disney,
era. Yeah.
I think also Beast Morphers probably because
Yeah. I think Beast Morphers is good. There is some continuity that you do need to know.
Because I
By-
interviewed South.
I would also say counterintuitively Dino Thunder because of
Yes.
episode, there's an episode that tells you everything you need to know.
That's also,
Yeah.
that's a good point.
That was
yeah.
gonna be my recommendation. was
So
Dino Thunder.
If you do Dino Thunder, brace yourself.
So just to throw this out there real quick, Time Force was actually the beginning of the Disney era. I know this because I interviewed, and here's how I know. Because I was interviewing Dan Southworth and somebody was fighting him about it, and Dan actually went, no, I would know because I saw the Disney executives on the studio.
Right, but
They
it
didn't
was,
finalize
but it
anything
was
until
still.
a while.
it was
That
still-
would, no, they took over mid-season.
Would RPM be another good one?
Yes.
It's independent. He doesn't like RPM, but in terms of having an independent season that you can jump into, I think RPM is a little difficult because it is kind of darker and borrows from its base and all that other jazz and has some issues. But it doesn't really set the bar for what Power Rangers is because it's very out there. So I would say if you watch RPM first and then you go back to the rest of Power Rangers, you're gonna be like, this is too silly, this is ridiculous.
Whatever you do not start with Mystic Force or Operation Overdrive
Oh.
Or Mega Force.
Oof. Oof.
or Mega Force.
No one should watch Mega Force,
Well,
period.
Mega Force and Super Mega Force are very dependent on knowing previous eras of the show.
They're also just terrible. Forget
Yeah,
anything
yeah.
else.
If you're tempted to watch Super Mega Force, just watch Go-Kaider. It's so much better.
Just watch Mega Battle and be like, wow, great season.
So, the gentleman in the hat. you have a
Yes,
question?
you have been
Yeah.
waiting patiently.
Okay, trust me, I've been enjoying these conversations. You all were saying that Simon Bennett and a lot of these big people in Power Rangers are leaving. Do you think the universe is going to reset itself, or do you think that they're, or do you think the continuum is going to keep going, especially because we're no longer going to use the Sentai anymore?
Well, if I may, so I know for a fact that the contract between Hasbro and Toei is still there, and I know that right now they're using, like they have their own suits, but they're using the Mecha from Q Ranger, which is a season everybody's been wanting to be adapted forever, but they just didn't want to have like 12 Rangers on a team, so it was like we're gonna do our own suits. I do know that that tie is still there, but we don't know yet until we see Cosmic Fury. Like, it might very well be they wrap everything up. I don't think they're gonna just like push all that continuity aside, but they might do something standalone.
So, bearing in mind, sorry.
What I was gonna say is there's a difference, like, we don't have any specific insider knowledge any more than anybody else that's obsessed with
We can
like,
speculate all day
on
long.
Twitter,
I guess
but,
what was your all opinions about? Do you think it would, and
Yeah.
does it need to happen?
so
I
here's
think it
what I
does.
want to happen, which is, I think I said this last year, that Power Rangers actually needs to move away from the Sentai to do more independent footage. Because if you look at the seasons that were limited to how much Sentai footage they could use for various reasons, I think those seasons ultimately worked better because they didn't rely so much on Sentai footage. And then you have Samurai.
Oh my God, Samurai.
So that is to say, I would like to see Power Rangers move away from the Sentai footage. It does mean more money that needs to be put in towards fighting and morphing sequences and all of this jazz and the Zord fights. But I think if you have a good showrunner that understands this franchise, whoever takes over after Simon Bennett, I hope is cares as much about Power Rangers. And so it could be the potential to be really, really good.
Mike, what's your take on it?
I think they're gonna go away from the Sentai. I think they really are, because I think they want that individuality. I think there will be a way that they kind of keep some of that continuity in storytelling and having some of that stuff in there, but move away from the Sentai and stuff like that. But like, at this rate, it's gonna be essentially Netflix and Hasbro footing the bill on this stuff, so it really comes down to that.
So,
Sorry.
then I'll give mine.
Okay, cool. From what it seems like they're gonna do is they're gonna keep using like the mech footage. They're gonna keep using like the Megazord footage because that stuff is really hard to like. It can be done, but like I don't know. There's just something about it's kind of like champagne made in anywhere else is just sparkling wine or whatever. It just looks better when it's made in Japan, I guess, and like they can use that footage that's already
Tell that
there.
a
Kind of like how the photos are from like between Japan and America, how like it's light and day and the difference.
Very much.
Well,
But-
I see where you're going with
but
it,
they can
Brian.
s-
I'm sorry, man.
But they can still do like American footage from everything else, but like still have that mech footage. That's what I'm thinking they're gonna do.
I just wish the cockpits would stop all of them standing there with a sword or all standing together like that and actually like sit in a seat or actually control it, not just stand there with a swing of the sword.
Yeah, I'm a fan of the actual like cockpits
Yeah.
and not of the weird.
It's like you get knocked down, guys. You show up, you all fall into the floor. You're not bracing on them.
Personal opinion, the Ryu Soldier cockpits were so much better than the Dino Fury ones. They could have done something really cool with that, but yeah, I just hate those bland ones.
Ben, what were you gonna say?
Sorry about that.
So to answer your original question, I think it is telling that it's Simon Bennett's final season. Simon Bennett was involved in Ninja Steel, which is where the concept of the Power Rangers multiverse was cemented during that one episode where like all the different people traveled through different realities and gave out the communicators to cross realities. I think the end of Cosmic Fury is going to be a delve into the multiverse. So while we may not be continuing the original continuity through the 31 to 31st season, I think we're going to start seeing a lot more of Power Rangers being in various different realities, and like we might check in on like the Dino Charge reality at some point, or
Or like
Would also solve the SPD issue.
yeah.
Because remember, guys, SPD takes place in 2025.
Well, didn't the special handle that?
That's
Did
tomorrow.
it? Did it?
For
I mean, a
Alpha.
little bit, but not enough.
That means we have to go alpha, beta, and more in like 3 years. Gentleman had his hand up in the back.
Back, yeah.
I have a primary question, just an aside, just so I know this isn't the Mandela effect. Wasn't there a point where they were gonna animate the first season of Mighty Morphin on like JetX or Disney or whatever it would consider at that time? I think it was around the same, well,
I think it was the reboot. I think it was the
around the
reboot.
same time they did the first season and they did all those overlay animations.
Yeah, I think you're thinking of like the reversions they did for.
Yeah.
They re-released season 1 minus about 30 episodes that just didn't need to be there, and then redid all of the special effects.
It was bad.
Really bad.
And it was worse than the actual season
I
1,
think
which
they
is
did.
going somewhere.
I think what it was is I think they used it as a test pilot to see if they could go into an animated, and it obviously didn't test very well for that one
If
season.
Did you have a question on top of that?
Yeah, so my main question, was actually about the movies. So, when I think about the fact that like Transformers works, I mean, they're only for 6 movies.
Yeah.
But, obviously Jonathan Anderson.
Works.
People still waste money to go and see it, so.
Hey, there's 10 Fast and Furious movies. I mean,
Yeah.
Yes, and in the 9th one, they sent the car into space after having worked on it for 3 hours.
Let the man
Come on,
finish
let's
his
admit, we
question.
won them in a space shuttle, and then they crash landed that car
What?
onto Earth.
Sorry,
killed
sorry.
everybody.
anyway, yeah, sorry.
Please, finish your question.
No, the reason I make that connection is because when I was kind of hoping for a movie, I was kind of hoping for what 2017 ended up being, but it was terrible.
Yes.
So what is the issue with making it formatted for cinema? Like, where's the challenge you think?
So the first problem is with the show with the Power Ranger 2016-2017 movie is the person who ran the movie, whatever they were, claimed to be like a big fan of the original Power Rangers, blah 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 blah. And except he clearly didn't watch or didn't care about the original because it was all nostalgia bait, then plot and action sequences, number one. Number two, I think Power Rangers could work if it's like, we don't need to rehash Mighty Morphin for the upteenth time. Like, fuck nostalgia, I'm sorry. I know. But you can tell a good original story.
You get the one.
I'm allowed
She
one.
just wasted a 1.
Sorry guys. To say that you can have a good Power Ranger story, but at the end of the day, it has to be a good story. And that has to balance a lot of characters. If you really watch the film, Trini and Zach get the short end of the stick. And it's the Billy and Kim, it's the Billy show, which well deserved. He was an amazing character, and the only thing I liked about that movie. And it's the Jason and Kimberly show. So you really need someone who understands Power Rangers as a franchise and as a story of 5 heroes. I think the large increase in diversity of hero cinema, we can get that.
So, but at least I will say this: the 2017 movie was a hell of a lot better than that debut crap that we got in 2015. I
mean,
Not by
yeah.
much.
Where they had Zach as a cokehead with hookers and all that other stuff. It was like, cause the guy tried, yeah. This one Hollywood director did like.
Yeah, but that wasn't official.
Yeah, it wasn't official. That's why it's called a dick movie.
That's not an official Power Ranger movie that we
But
should be
unfortunately,
talking
a
about.
lot of people still consider
it's
it as a
not,
high
anyway.
rated Power
If
Ranger.
it's not canon,
If I can, I'm gonna be
do it.
pretty honest right now. The origin of Mighty Morphin Power Rangers is poop. It's just a bunch of kids that get picked up random while there's an earthquake happening and teleported to a command center, and within 3 minutes they aren't screaming, "Oh my god, I've been kidnapped by an alien." In order for an actual Power Rangers movie to make sense, they did some of the things they needed to do, which was have the Rangers like discover the powers, but it just more care needs to be taken with the writing. It needs to be less about the flashy effects. It needs to be less about the weird video wall Bryan Cranston. It just needs to be and this sounds like a real cop out. It's just the same with any movie. It just needs to be well written. Because there's never been a well-written Power Rangers movie.
I think what needs to happen is, because let's be honest, now that's under Hasbro, and we've seen what they're doing with Transformers, G.I. Joe, and stuff like that. Spoiler alert, if you saw the recent Transformers, yeah, they're doing it. You're gonna have to cross over. They're obviously gonna try to make this like a full-blown series of films and stuff like that. So if you're going to do that, they need to actually have their plan in place to actually do a long-form storytelling.
Yeah, don't do what Zack Snyder did.
Also, like,
Zack Snyder films are not that bad. You keep crapping on it, but they weren't.
Can and will because it's fun.
We are not getting into that argument right now.
but also, part of the thing about Power Rangers is you have to root for them,
Yeah.
right? Most of the characters in the 2016 movie were horrible people.
They were unlikable.
Kimberly's all like, "Oh, woe is me, nobody likes me." I'm like, "You've released illicit pictures of like one of your friends on the internet. Of course no one likes you. Then why should we like you?"
You know, I also think that, like, personally, just because, you know, if your general audience, I mean, I know it needs to be released to a general audience, and like you need to get the, you know, butts on the seat that aren't familiar with the franchise, but let's be honest, a lot of people are going to have some kind of, you know, like history with the franchise. I was perfectly content if like they were gonna do a little more with just like Zordon's backstory, like when, like, you know, he's, you know, in the beginning of that movie, spoilers, you know, him and his team are dying, and the meteor, like, I was like, I want to see more of this, and it cuts to Jason and his friend jerking off a bull. And it's like,
Yeah, because if there's one thing I associate with Power Rangers, it's artificial bull insemination.
Yeah. So,
Right? Like, I'm not sure.
They literally stole the joke from Kingpin.
Yeah, they just don't. The people who make the
They don't have a
movie
cow,
just
we have a
don't.
bull. They pretty much made Power Rangers Breakfast Club.
I literally made that joke 2 minutes ago.
I didn't hear you, I'm sorry.
Rude.
All right. So anyone? Yes, sir.
Yes. So from every single Ranger series, we're seeing so many either Zords transforming in a different form, or all 5 Zords combined into either one huge vehicle or a weapon. Like, for example, on Power Rangers Turbo, TJ's team, the Rescue Zords go into high stance mode, where each robot portrays like a profession that you see out in the fields. In Lightspeed Rescue, when the team goes up into space, you see the Omega Zords coming out of the Super Train, and they transform into the Omega Crawler. In Time Force, all the Time Flyers combine together into one huge time jet, and they created what they call the time jets as the Cyclone. And finally, we have SPD, the SWAT Flyers, all combined in together into one huge jet. I'm sorry, a blaster. So my question to you guys is this: if you had to pick any other series, any other series besides those four that like to see Zords either changing their form or combine like one vehicle or weapon, which one would you choose?
So I'm actually going to do this one because actually hilariously, hey Eric, because he knows because he was watching it with me at work, but Gosei Sentai Dai Ranger, which was what was used for MMPR Season 2, because actually in this, we didn't really see it over here, but in the Sentai, all the Zords were actually used individually a lot beforehand going into like the mythical beast and stuff like that. So like, and like the Red Ranger, like he was able to go in, the Red Dragon was able to go into like the battle mode and stuff like that before they even bothered with doing the Zords and stuff like that, because in Dai Ranger, Red Dragon is revealed first before the other four Zords even come into play, and they actually do battle individually. And we actually got a little bit of that in Mighty Morphin Season 1 with the Dino Zords as well. So we do, they did give us that a little bit at the beginning, but I know like in the Sentai they do a little bit more of the individualization before they really start going heavily into just going right into the Megazord mode. So like, and like I just say because I was literally watching it Tuesday, but Dai Ranger.
Ben?
Huh? I'm sorry.
I would
still
say,
thinking
for
too,
me,
actually.
the thing is like, I'm one of the only, like, I've been very honest on the panels that I don't watch Power Rangers for the Zord battles. I find the Zord battles, honestly, was sometimes the most boring part of the episode. And if I'm rewatching it, if it's an episode I know very well, I will just skip the Zord fight. That being said, I do like when it's not just a straight up giant robot hitting a giant monster. I do like when there is some kind of strategy, there's some kind of dual action happening. So I like it when the individual Zords get more time to play before being combined. I do love SPD where the Zords just combine into one giant gun, as you said, because it's giant space gun. Like, come on. Right? So I like that a lot more than just the straight up giant robot fights, mostly because it just looks so, like, it's not like Optimus Prime, right? Like, Optimus Prime moves, he's all bendy and stuff. A lot of these Zords are not bendy. You could just, like, knock it over, like, realistically, right? Because they're really bulky. So I like the creativity with, I know, like, with Ninja Storm, it had a mode where the Zord, like, turned into, like, it became just, like, more maneuverable, and they just, like, put a guy in a costume, and he was the Megazord, and that was really cool. Obviously you can do that now with CGI with a bigger budget, but it was really cool because now, okay, this Zord can move, it can jump out of the way, it can do other cool stuff, so I thought
Do you mean the Storm Megazord that goes into lightning mode?
Yeah. I don't remember all their names, guys, I didn't keep track of it, but I appreciate that you do.
So I got a couple of different Zords that I really like, and I like a lot of their individual Zords, and some of them are from Sentai too, but I'm gonna try and keep it to Power Rangers. I thought that a lot of the unique, I would say, I would recommend Zenkai here for a lot of really cool stuff. Like
I'm gonna try and keep the Power Rangers.
But just saying the Zord.
First word out of my mouth at the same time.
Hold on, just saying, they have a Dragon Zord and a Q-Rex like combiner Zord, and it's awesome. But it's never going to be adapted, so check that out. But I do like in like Samurai how they do a couple different modes. Like I love, like, you know, you got the blue dragon and you got all the like individual Zords, and like they just look really cool, and they look like they can actually do a lot, even though they're still kind of blocky and they're like the little kanji things. And they have the like stand mode or whatever too, and that's kind of out. I don't know. I just think that that's really unique, and I really like that.
Yeah. If you're looking for Zords changing form, I'm gonna once again say Jungle Fury. One of my criticisms of that show is that their Zords stay the same for like 80% of the show. And if there's ever a show that would benefit from the standing up cockpit style fighting, having the Jungle Fury Rangers in humanoid Zords actually doing like kung fu, actual martial arts fighting in the cockpit, and the Zord copying what they do, a la the Alien Rangers and how they do it.
I was about to recommend, yeah.
Yeah.
I would say that would be what I would want. I'd want to see the Jungle Fury
That would work
sort of
really well.
shifts.
Yeah.
That would be that's the only time I could see the whole standing in the cockpit and doing maneuvers thing working as an actual Zord cockpit. Maybe Ninja Storm, because they're also ninjas. Is there not any more
Any
questions?
So we'll take.
We got about 10
We'll
or so
take,
minutes
we'll
left.
take one more question,
Oh,
because we actually do
I-
have announcements and stuff that we can
Actually,
do.
I also have a follow-up question with that. It's about from Time Force. What did you guys think? Since Power Rangers Time Force, I found out about this. Since I watched every single episode from Mighty Morphin all the way up until Dino Fury. I saw that Time Force was the only. Time Force is the only series in which the Megazord changes twice from mode blue going to more agile to mode red being like a warrior type. What was your reaction, and what did you think about that particular Megazord having two modes and not any other Megazord only have one?
So I don't honestly remember.
Yeah.
We're gonna get to it.
Remember
We're actually
that.
right now. We're actually recording Turbo.
Yeah.
That's the next season that we're recording right
It's
now.
been a long time since I watched Time Force.
But in a way, like what you're kind of describing, we kind of got that a little bit in Zeo with the battle helmets. I mean, yeah, you're not changing the form of the Zord itself, but you are getting the different helmets for each different ranger for the Zord itself.
And if you think about starting with like Ninja Storm, you start getting that almost gacha style, like Wild Force as well, where like different bits of the Zords change in and out. It's like by that point, it's just sort of like every different combination is its own form.
Which I loved about Dino Charge too. I will say they kind of did that form, even though it was not necessarily. They did that with Mighty Morphin Season 1 with the Dino Megazord, because they had the tank mode and then they had the fight mode too. So
Yeah, but no one remembers Mighty Morphin Season 1.
yeah, you're clearly right about that.
Sorry.
But as I said, we
It's the
do.
second worst season they've ever made.
We actually have like about 5 minutes left. We actually have a couple announcements we need to make, so we're gonna take one last question.
We might make it 2 if you're super quick.
Yeah, we might make it 2 for super
If you
quick.
want to do him first,
Yeah, we'll get to the guy who
In the back there.
Merrick, what you got?
So, actually, more unrelated.
I'm out.
Yeah, bye.
Hi, how can I help? Hey, what's up? How's it going?
I've only just started watching some with a friend. Have seen all of Go Kaiser and half of Jetman so far, which is a hilarious trip. For, I guess, you guys who have seen one, what would be a recommendation, or I guess one you wish could be adapted?
Keep it short.
Okay.
Kind of trained to keep it short. Get to the point. One and done.
Zen Kaiser. Zen Kaiser was awesome.
I'm not gonna answer the question because all I really wanted was the one scene from Jew Ranger where they had the putties ring the doorbell and they came in and started messing up the place. And the Power Rangers actually came in, rang the doorbell, and started fighting the putties.
That was amazing.
What I would absolutely recommend is if you have a favorite series of Power Rangers, watch the Sentai. Because just so you can compare the differences. Go Busters is a great example of the difference between Go Busters and Beast Morphers, for example.
King Coach is awesome right now too, by the way.
Mike, you had announcements.
Yes.
We got one more. We can do one more question.
One
That
more
was
quick one.
Yes, sir. I've been seeing a lot of good fan-made Power Rangers shows and whatnot. What was your all's opinion of, or have you all seen Power Rangers Unworthy?
Nope.
Nope. Sorry.
So that's actually going to be part of our announcement a little bit there. So next month, July 15th in Philadelphia, Sasha, Brian, and I, as of right now, we are going to be at Rangers Station, where Power Rangers Unworthy is actually going to be there. So we're actually probably going to be doing
To correct Mike's announcement, they're going to be guests.
Yeah, they're going to be guests there.
No.
Yeah,
They're
gonna
No,
be
no.
there.
they were really awesome to meet last year at Go-Go Ranger Station. It was cool talking to all of them, so I'm glad you all are going to come to
We,
Ranger
we're,
Station.
we're actually going to be there. We're actually going to be moderating their celebrity panels. We're going to be interviewing a lot of the Ranger actors that are there. We are actually, I'm the one that's negotiating all the stuff with the convention itself. But we are actually, Power Rangers Unworthy is one of the people that we're trying to get some work with actually at the convention next month.
To make Mike's announcement, Voices from the Grid will also be guests there. We won't just be buying tickets and showing up.
Yeah, we're doing a whole shebang. And then Ben, where are you?
Yeah, I won't be there. I'll be elsewhere. I'll be out in Utah doing a speed running marathon, raising money for the National Alliance on Mental Illness. I won't be there, but if you do spend any time online, head over to rpglimitbreak.com and find out some information about that. Any other announcements you want to make?
Just
that was
business
it.
from the grid. We have business cards
Oh,
finally.
we have business cards, and if you are new to this, please check out our podcast and our Twitter. We are awesome, and
We just
we're on Spotify.
we just wrapped up Zio on Wednesday,
Yep.
and we are in the process of recording Turbo, which should be out starting this fall.
There has been somewhat of a delay in recording Turbo because I am helping to organize about 150 different volunteers in 17 different departments
And I'm
for
working
this
like
charity
2 jobs.
marathon. So,
It's been a little hectic, but we're gonna get there.
So
Yeah.
with that, we're just gonna say grab our business cards because
Yeah.
we're getting the 1 minute sign. So with that, Ben, take us out.
it's been absolutely awesome to be here at Awesome Con for the second year. Please, 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 please. First of all, if you want to see more Power Rangers stuff here at the convention, let them know. If you want to see more of anything else, let them know. They will book panels on what you, the public, want to see. Secondly, as a person who's helped run conventions and helped run speed running marathons, things like that, the volunteers who run these things give up their time to help you enjoy your weekend. I assure you, 90% of the people that walk past them don't even notice they are there. Please take your time, stop, talk to one of the people in the red shirts, and just say thank you. They will absolutely appreciate it, okay? And with that said, we have been Voices from the Grid, and we will take you out the way that we always do, by me starting by saying, guys, gals, non-binary pals, and all those beyond that spectrum. The words of the 16th President of the United States, Abraham Lincoln, be excellent to each other. Party on, my friends.
And before our next phenomenal panel, be sure to grab your power coins and power morphers.
And may the power protect you.
It'll take us to 31.
Thank you guys.
Thank you for coming.
Thank you all.